Hi, yeah, so I'm Tom Ward. I'm part of the, sorry, I'm looking at that, so I'm just going to move that, and it's very confusing. I'm part of the reproducible analytics pipeline team, and this is, I'm going to do a brief demo of Airlock, which is why I'm using my own laptop, so this is why the difficulties. But yeah, so what is Airlock? So let's say you're a researcher. Can you see my mouse pointer? I was hoping to have a big screen behind me so I could sort of weatherman it, but I'm just going to use the mouse. So let's say you're a researcher, you write some study code in your development environment, you push it to GitHub, then maybe you go to job server, you create a job request, job runner picks that up and pulls it into the secure environment and creates a job. That job is going to pull in your study code from GitHub via the secure proxy, and it's going to pull some stuff out of the private data, which is a big database full of sick people, but that's not important right now. Hopefully your job is going to succeed, it's going to complete successfully and write some results into the medium privacy storage, and then it's going to become accessible to Airlock, which is going to sort of do everything about getting those results out of the secure environment. So why is it good? It's good because, let me just get my notes up. It's good because it streams the workflow. We've tried to make it easy for researchers to get access to the results and create release requests. So this is putting the results into packages that the output checkers can review in a sensible way. And it it keeps track of how files change. So if a job gets rerun and the results change slightly, so it helps keep track of all of that. It helps enforce output checking best practices. So things like making sure that 2 reviewers have reviewed every release request and keeping reviews independent while they're still working on it. It restricts access, so researchers can only see the medium privacy outputs, which is the kind of final outputs, rather than the sort of the high privacy outputs, which is the intermediate data, the patient level data. And output files are read-only, so they can't be tampered with through Airlock, and researchers can only see their own results, that sort of standard stuff. And it keeps a record of who's viewed what files when, which is great. So like if there's some reason we need to go back later and like see who's been looking at what, we've got that as well. So let's do a live demo. I hope this works. So I'm just going to close that. So you've written your code, you've submitted it to the job server, and you've got a page like this, this is a job I ran, it says 1 week and 3 days ago. So I've submitted my job, here's my job down here, and it says it succeeded, so great. So I want to go and look at my results. So I connect to the secure environment, and then when I'm inside the secure environment, I can access Airlock. So this is not the real Airlock, this is my local development Airlock. So this doesn't have any private data in it, this is all safe, don't worry about anything like that. So I've logged in as a researcher here, my test researcher, and this is sort of where you land when you log into the Airlock. So this is looking at all of the workspaces that I've got access to at the moment, and then I can see requests that I've made in the past, and there's some documentation about how to do everything. So that's all there. So we're going to start with the workspaces. So I'm going to click into this workspace, and I can see the output files from my job. So there's some metadata, which is some internal stuff that we need, and then I've got a CSV file that I've output, which some of you may recognize. I don't know, it was in some magazine called Nature or something. So we've got some output, and there's a nice picture there. So this is a CSV file, but our interface is, we have this like slightly whizzy view of this, so we can filter it and we can sort it and we can poke it a bit and make sure that it's the right thing. And we can also click through to view the source code that generated this. So within the secure environment, you can access the source code to sort of cross-reference. So I'm a researcher, so I want to release this file. So the next thing I'm going to do is start building up a release request, which I can send to the output checkers. So I just need to click this button to add the file to request. you can add it as an output file or a supporting file. So an output file is to be released, to be made public. A supporting file will not be made public. It's just to show to the output checkers to sort of support what you're like saying about the files that you do want to release. And we can organize these output files into logical groups to make the output checkers' life easier. But I'm just going to stick with the default group. So can I make the font bigger? Is that bigger? Is that better? Okay. So I'm going to add that to the request. So we're still on the sort of workspace view, but we've now started a request. So I just want that one file, so I'm going to click through to have a look at the request. So this is a view of the request that we've just started building. So it looks pretty similar to the workspace. We've got some information about the request, and over here you can see the file that we just added. So looking much the same. We can withdraw it if we need to, and you can see the group that we've created, the default group. One thing we do need to do is add some context and controls. So this is information to give to the output checkers to help them make their decisions. So I'm just going to type some nonsense in here for now because, yeah, I checked it. I was hoping to have some pre-canned answers, but it hasn't worked out. And we can also leave comments if there's anything you want to say. Please approve this. I'm giving a talk on Monday. Okay, so we've created a release request. We've put some stuff in the default group. We've added some context and controls. We've got a file. So we go back to the sort of home page for the request, and it's all ready. So we're going to submit it. And we agree to the terms and conditions, as we always do. Okay, so now we're done as the researcher. So in my list of requests by the researcher, you can see somewhere, that we've got a submitted one there. So I'm now going to use this magic button, which is only available because I'm in my development environment, and magically change into being an output checker. I will look the same, but I am now an output checker. So this is the sort of request page as viewed by an output checker. So here's the request we just made. So it looks very much the same, apart from if we click through to the file, we can look at the file as we have. We can look at the context and the comments. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. We'd better approve this, and we're nearly out of time, so let's approve it. So I just need to hit approve, and then once the output checkers approve the files individually, they then need to submit their review as a package. So I'm just going to do that, and then we're done. We require 2 output checkers to check everything. So we've just walked through as one output checker. So then somebody else would go through the same procedure, and then these buttons here would become available to reject or maybe return if there's minor corrections, typos or something, or the release files button, which will, once it's been approved, that will automatically distribute the files out to job server, and they'll be public. And that is Airlock. Yeah, that's it.